tutorial. Basic IELTS speaking test. Discussion practice for Part 3 of the IELTS speaking test.
Description. Sample Study 1. Can you describe the main function of newspapers? On the whole, newspapers are meant to provide information about current events in our communities, our cities, our country, and our world. The journalists work hard to make sure stories are accurate, interesting, and up to date. Most people buy a newspaper because they want to read the latest news. They often look at the newspaper headlines to see what the top stories are. However, newspapers also provide other information besides news. Some people want to read the advertisements more than the news. These people are often looking for a job or eager to find a good price for something they want to buy. Newspapers also have many advertisements that tell about which companies are hiring employees, what new products are available, and other opportunities that everyone should try. So, I would have to say that there are two main functions of newspapers. The first one is to provide current news, and the second function is advertising.
Sample Study 2. What role does music play in our life? Music plays a large role in our lives, but its effect is not always obvious. Babies learn through music. They can learn new ideas, such as knowledge about animals and many other things, and even learn their own language through the use of music. Children love to sing and dance to express their happiness. Teenagers often find music helpful to express their feelings. Adults listen to music to relax after a stressful day. And elderly people frequently gather together in parks to dance or sing. This is their form of entertainment and enjoyment. So you can see that throughout our lifetime, music plays a significant role in each stage of our lives.
Agreement, disagreement. Sample Study 1. Do you think that advertisements help people make choices? In my opinion, advertisements are useful in helping people make choices. They provide information about what products are available and how much they cost. Without advertisements, people would only buy something they already know about, even though a better product might be available. Of course, we should also remember that the main purpose of advertisements is to make money for the company. People should learn to be careful when looking at advertisements so that they do not get cheated.
Sample Study 2. Do you agree with the idea that we are too dependent on technology today? Yes, I believe we are absolutely too dependent on technology these days. You only have to see what happens when something breaks down to know that we are heavily dependent on technology. Let me give you a few examples. In communicating with one another, people used to visit each other to talk. Later, they would talk by telephone. Now, people send emails, chat on the internet, and send messages through their mobile phones. People have moved away from face-to-face communication. At work, most companies rely heavily on computers. If there is a problem with the computer system, some employees cannot work at all. Sometimes the whole company must wait until the computers are repaired. At school, students used to do their homework by writing it out or using a typewriter. Now many students will do their homework using a computer. They are not used to writing things by hand anymore, and students' handwriting is of poorer quality than students from previous generations. So you can see that we are definitely too dependent on technology these days.
Comparison and contrast. Sample Study 1. Can you compare the transportation we have now with what we had in the past? Well, despite all the changes that have occurred over the years, one thing that has remained more or less the same is the bicycle. For a long time, people have loved to ride their bicycles to work or school, and for some people, it is the best and only way to travel. Some things that have changed have been the number of cars on the road. There's no comparison between now and the past. There are many more privately owned cars than before. Another main difference is that the public bus system has improved. Buses are more modern and comfortable, and there are many convenient bus routes to take people where they want to go. In some bigger cities that have underground transportation, the subway systems have all been improved and modernized. So, almost all these changes have been for the better. The only thing that has not improved are the traffic jams, but perhaps we will never get rid of them.
Sample Study 2. What is the difference between weekday clothes and weekend clothes? Weekday clothes are usually more formal than weekend clothes because on weekdays people are usually going to work, whereas on the weekend they are free to relax, stay at home, or go out. Actually, that probably is true for working people. They usually dress nicely or wear a uniform for work. On the weekend they can choose whatever they want to wear. I suppose some people might dress up more on the weekend than they do for their jobs, while others would dress more casually on weekends. For students, they usually wear their school uniform on weekdays and can choose to wear whatever they want on weekends. For the very young and the very old, there is probably not much difference between their weekday clothes and weekend clothes, since they do not go to school or work. They can freely choose to wear whatever they want.
Evaluation. Sample Study 1. Based on the benefits and disadvantages tourism brings, what do you think of tourism? From my point of view, tourism is basically a good way for a country to generate income from outside sources. I mean that instead of taking money from the citizens of a country, people from other countries bring money into your country, which helps your country to prosper. A further advantage of tourism is jobs. Tourism provides many jobs to people, and this is good for the country's economy and also for society. If people are employed, they can help their country's economy to grow. In addition, they won't have too much time to complain and get into trouble. What I mean is that when people are working and making their own money, they are less likely to commit crimes in order to get things they cannot normally afford. So this is good for society because it helps people to be responsible citizens. Just from these two examples, you can see that overall, tourism is a good thing.
Sample Study 2. What do you think about the balance between work and leisure? I don't think some people are good at balancing work and leisure. There are people who work 12 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week. Their work is very demanding, and they have little time to rest. Some people enjoy working long hours and don't mind missing out on leisure time. They are called workaholics. Others are very unhappy about their jobs. Money is no longer a problem, but they don't have any time to enjoy the money they make. I suppose that some jobs require very long hours, and that each person can choose to take a demanding job with high pay or a less demanding job with regular hours and slightly less pay. Personally, I think that money isn't everything. I would take a job that has regular hours and slightly less pay, as long as I have enough money to live on.
Speculation. Sample Study 1. In what ways do you think people will change their eating habits in the future? This is a hard question. In my opinion, it's quite likely that as the standard of living rises, people will be more selective about what foods they want to eat. They will try different foods, more expensive foods, and foods from other countries. There's a good chance that there will be more restaurants, many more restaurants with food from different countries and better quality of food and presentation. Another change I predict is that people will want more convenience and fast foods. At home, they will buy pre-packaged and ready-to-eat meals so that they don't have to spend as much time shopping and cooking. As people become busier with their jobs, they will want to eat their meals more quickly so that they have more time for other things.
Sample Study 2. How much of today's technology will still be used in 50 years' time? This is a very interesting question for me. Actually, I think that there's a good chance that none of today's technology will be used in 50 years' time. The reason, I think, is because technology is advancing at such a fast pace that much of what we use nowadays did not exist even 10 or 20 years ago. And if we consider what technology was like 50 years ago, we can already see how fast things have developed and changed. By looking back 50 years, we can already see what 50 years of progress in technology looks like. And there's no doubt that future technology will have a completely different look and approach. Technology in 50 years' time may very well be so vastly different from today's technology that people will laugh at our backwardness and simple lives. It's exciting and thought-provoking to just think what might happen with developments in technology.